Imagine being born in 14th century Europe into a bloodline they call cursed, a curse so dark even demons beg to avoid it. You don't die young because of it, but you're not lucky enough to escape your fate. You're just trapped in the middle of nowhere with a destiny that makes the devil himself shudder. You come into the world carrying that cursed blood, not doomed enough to perish early, not blessed enough to break free, just stuck in some godforsaken place with a fate even hell rejects. Your mother spends her days praying for your soul before you even know it needs saving. Your father is always gone working a job that makes grown men tremble and soil themselves in fear. Then you turn two. Congratulations, you've survived the plague and starvation. But making it through childhood might be the worst thing that ever happens to you. A tragedy waiting to unfold. By age 4, you start hearing the whispers. People don't just avoid your house. They make the sign of the cross as they pass by. Your mother never takes you to the market, never lets you play with other kids. She claims it's because of wild beasts. You're beginning to think the real beasts walk on 2 legs and hurl stones at your windows. Have you ever wondered what your family's darkest secret could be? A truth that terrifies an entire village. One day, curiosity does more than kill the cat. You sneak to the village square and see a crowd gathered around a wooden platform. There are screams, please the stench of blood and terror. And there, holding a strange metal tool, stands a man in a dark hood. The crowd parts as he walks, some spitting, others staring in horror. That's when you see it, your father's face beneath that hood. That night you confront him. Your father sits you down, removes his gloves. His hands are scarred and stained, and he tells you a truth that will haunt every dream you ever have. A truth more horrific than hell itself. Your father is a torturer. When someone steals bread, speaks against God, or glances at a priest the wrong way, they're brought to him. His job is to inflict pain until they confess to things they might not even have done. But hold on, it gets worse. Because nobody chooses this job. Nobody wakes up thinking, oh, I'd love to spend my life snapping people's fingers for a living. There's only one way to become a torturer. You're born into it. Your grandfather was a torturer, his father before him. And his father's father, you guessed it. This isn't just a family trade. It's a family curse. And guess what? You've just inherited it. A burden you can't escape. You once had dreams. Maybe becoming a farmer, growing crops instead of destroying lives. Maybe a merchant traveling to far-off lands where no one knows your name, or even a priest saving souls instead of damning your own. But none of that matters now. The city won't let you be anything else. You're marked, branded, cursed from birth to follow your father's blood-soaked path. Are you ready to face the true darkness, where training turns you into a monster? At 8, the training begins. And by training, I mean learning to clean up after human suffering. You start by sharpening the tools. Pliers for pulling teeth, screws for crushing thumbs, ropes for the strappado. Each tool has a purpose. Each purpose involves screams. Before you touch human flesh, your father tosses you a pile of animal bones, pig femurs, goat ribs, cow skulls. Break them clean, he orders. Learn how muscles, tendons, and bones react under pressure. You spend weeks smashing livestock remains, mastering the exact force needed to break without killing. The smell of rotting meat clings to your clothes as you perfect this gruesome craft on dead animals first. You learn to oil the rack so it doesn't squeak when it stretches people apart. You scrub blood from stone floors until your hands are raw using buckets of vinegar. It's the only thing that cuts through the overpowering stench of sweat, excrement, blood, and decaying flesh that sticks to dungeon stones. The acidic smell burns your nose, but it's better than the reek of human despair. A smell that lingers forever. That stench never leaves your clothes. Iron blood, fear, sweat, and something else you can't name, but it turns your stomach. Your mother tries washing your clothes 3 times, but that smell, it's never coming out. Can you stare into the abyss without blinking? Or will it swallow you whole? In the 9th month, your father decides you're ready to watch. A man is brought in accused of stealing grain during harvest. He's sobbing, begging, swearing on his mother's grave he's innocent. Your father doesn't care. Guilty or not, his job is to make the man confess. That's what the law demands, a confession. Your father starts with the thumbscrews, small metal devices that seem harmless, until they crush bone. The man's screams are so loud you think your ears might bleed. You want to look away, but your father's watching you, making sure you don't flinch. This is your future. This is what you'll do every day for the rest of your life. A chilling reminder. The man confesses after his third finger breaks. He admits to stealing grain, he never took names, people who don't exist, just to stop the pain. Another successful day at the office. You're 12 now, and the real education begins. Your father hands you the pliers and points to a prisoner's mouth. Start with the back teeth, he says calmly. They're easier to grip. You hesitate. The prisoner looks at you with desperate eyes. Your father's hand rests on your shoulder, not a gentle warning. Do it now, or I'll do it to you later, he whispers. But there's more to fear than his anger. Cross the church, harm the wrong noble, or let a prisoner die before confessing, and they'll burn us both alive, he adds grimly. You've heard the stories. Torturers who disobeyed or showed unsanctioned cruelty ended up on the same pyres they once prepared for heretics. Your first tooth extraction takes forever. Your hands shake. The prisoner passes out from pain before you're halfway done. Your father shakes his head. Sloppy work. Keep practicing until you get it right. And you do on prisoner after prisoner until pulling teeth feels as natural as brushing your own. Can you imagine learning to inflict maximum pain without killing? A dark art filled with dread. At 15, anatomy lessons begin. You learn where to cut for the most pain without ending a life. How long someone can hang before their shoulders dislocate, how many turns of the rack it takes to make them beg. You discover fear is often more effective than pain. Sometimes just showing the tools makes them talk. The human imagination fills in horrors you don't even need to voice. An invisible weapon of terror. Your father introduces you to the Iron Maiden, a human-shaped metal coffin lined with inward-facing spikes. Each spike pierces limbs, shoulders, thighs, but never vital organs, he explains, demonstrating on a screaming victim. The art is in prolonged suffering, not quick death. You learn to operate it with surgical precision, knowing exactly which spikes to use for different confessions. By 17, you're ready for the rack, the king of torture devices. A wooden frame that stretches people like clay. Listen to their breathing, your father says. When it gets ragged, ease off. When they start talking, tighten more. Keep them on the edge between confessing and dying. A deadly balancing act. Your first solo lesson comes at 18. A woman accused of witchcraft because her neighbor's cow died. You start gently just showing the tools. She denies everything. But before you proceed, you're accused of showing unauthorized mercy. The church demands proof of your divine sanction. You're forced to undergo a trial by ordeal, plunging your hand into boiling oil to prove your methods are blessed by God. The searing pain reminds you even torturers aren't above suspicion. When your wounds heal cleanly, you're deemed worthy to continue. Thumbscrews yield no confession. Then you hang her by her arms for an hour. Finally, you mention her children. Such a shame they'll be questioned too. Children are so fragile. She confesses within minutes, admitting to flying on broomsticks, dancing with the devil, cursing crops. All lies but effective lies. The crowd cheers as she burns, celebrating your success. You feel sick, a gnawing guilt that won't fade. You become a master of pain, but at what cost? Eternal isolation. Years pass. You excel at your work. Disturbingly well. Your reputation spreads. They call you the bone breaker. You refine new techniques, keep detailed notes like any craftsman. Subject endured 47 minutes before confessing. Suggest a different approach next time. But success has a steep price. No one speaks to you unless they're hiring your services. Children run when they see you coming. Even priests won't let you sit among normal folk. You're necessary but unwanted, useful but unclean. You live alone on the town's edge. Your only companions are the screams echoing in your mind. You drink heavily, but alcohol can't erase the memories. Those haunting shadows linger. Women won't marry you. So you find companionship with someone as despised as you. A brothel worker who knows what it's like to be society's necessary evil. 20 years of torture later, you're the most feared man in 3 counties. Your name makes criminals weep. You've extracted thousands of confessions, sent hundreds to their deaths. But comfort is fleeting when your job is causing misery. Every night brings nightmares, faces of those you've broken, voices, begging for mercy you couldn't give. You wake screaming louder than your victims ever did. Do you think hope can save your bloodline? Or will the curse devour the next generation? Your wife gives birth to twin boys. For the first time in years, you feel hope. Maybe they can escape this life. But hope is a luxury torturers can't afford. A fleeting illusion. Your hands start shaking at 40. Years of gripping tools take their toll. One day, you misjudge. A prisoner dies before confessing. The judge is furious. Your reputation suffers. More mistakes follow. Word spreads that the great bone breaker is losing his edge. There's only one solution, and you hate it more than anything. You pull your eldest son aside on his 13th birthday. This is our family trade, you tell him, watching his face collapse. I didn't choose it. My father didn't choose it, and neither will you. But if you're to survive, you must be better than I ever was. He cries. He begs. He tries to run, but 3 days later he's back hungry and defeated. There's nowhere to flee. The family curse follows you everywhere. So you begin his training just as your father trained you. You see in his eyes the same death of innocence you felt all those years ago. The cycle continues. Your son learns the trade masters, the techniques, builds his own reputation. Do you think retirement brings peace? Or just a different prison with echoes of screams? You retire to a corner of the house. Your hands too shaky to work. But retirement isn't freedom. It's just another cage. You hear screams from below, knowing your son carries on the family tradition. Each cry reminds you this is your legacy, the curse you've passed to another generation, an eternal burden. You die at 52, old for someone in your trade. Most torturers don't live to see grandchildren. The stress, the drinking, the constant fear of revenge kills them young. But you've been lucky. If you can call any part of this life lucky. Even in your final years, there's no peace. Torturers are feared even in retirement. Villagers believe you're cursed, damned by your bloody work. When your service ends, you're quietly exiled to remote lands, society's way of erasing the shame you represent. Few torturers receive pensions or land. Most are sent far from civilization or secretly executed to keep their dark knowledge from spreading. Your sons bury you in the torturer's corner of the graveyard, far from decent folk even in death. No priest prays over your grave. No mourners come to pay respects. Just your family carrying on a tradition that's destroyed every generation for centuries. But at least for you, it's over. The nightmares stop. The guilt ends. The screams finally fade to silence. You've paid your debt to a world that needed someone to do its dirty work, even if it despised you for it. Your sons, though, their story is just beginning. And somewhere in town, a 4-year-old boy is starting to wonder why people make the sign of the cross when his family passes by.